Hi guys!
What are you doing here?
I got you something.
What'd you get us?
I brought some encebollado.
Yeah!
In a can!
Encebollado is a staple part of Ecuadorian cuisine. That's why it's surprising to know that there's encebollado in a can. And more so that you can find it on Amazon. But is it worth it? That's what we're gonna find out today. We're gonna look at its characteristics, compare it to 2 other encebollados, look at the pros and cons, and in order to have an unbiased review, I've brought my friend Antonio
What's up?
to help me see if this encebollado is worth it or not.
So let's begin.
First of all, I'd like to say that this can looks gorgeous. It is a very nice and elegant looking can, even in comparison to other cans of tuna that this same brand makes. And just to be sure, just to be clear, the image of this can is not going to be the same on Amazon. And I made sure to ask at Super Maxi why that was. And they just told me it was because the image on Amazon is an older image and this is actually the newer presentation that they have. So it'll be all the same, don't expect anything different, but let's check it out. Now, looking at the can, you can see clearly that it says the name, Encebollado de Atún, and supposedly special edition. We'll see what's so special about it in a bit. And you can see that it has the weight, which is 400 grams. It's also got the information on the ingredients, which I'll show in a different shot in a bit, as well as the nutritional values, all the information that you need over here. If you look around, you'll also see that it is lightly salted, low in fat, and it has no sugar, thank goodness. On the bottom you can see we have a pull tab, as well as information of when it was made, as well as when it expires. I'll give you a closer look on that in a different shot. Let's open it up so you can see the experience on the inside. Thank goodness we have a pull tab. Let's just hope I don't break it. So let's do this. Okay. Good, good. Don't spill. Ooh, that's kind of complicated. Okay, I'm not gonna pull it off completely because I feel like I'm gonna do something wrong. Ooh, that already spilled a little bit, a teeny bit. But as you can see, this is what it looks like on the inside. Nothing too special. I guess the same encebollado coloring that you would expect from any other encebollado. Let's try to fill it up in one of these dishes, one of these bowls. Let's go over here. Scrape up what's left over. And yeah, looks like the small bowl is the winner. That's about as much as it fills. And just in case, so you can check it out, completely empty. This is what it would look like. This is what it would serve in this plate, which is not the size of a normal soup bowl, because this is typically what we use to eat soup. I wish it would fill this up because that would be a really big meal. Those are the characteristics. Let's move on with the rest of the video. So comparing the Levy's Encebollado and the canned Encebollado, what were your observations?
I'm gonna say that the canned encebollado was definitely a bit thicker than the Levy's encebollado. It's thick, like my ex. I preferred the Levy's encebollado over the canned one, but the canned encebollado, it was very fishy in my opinion, and just from what I tasted from the Levy's encebollado, was also very focused on the fish. I can say that they're pretty similar on that, but the taste is completely different. And I feel like this one definitely had a bit more yuca in it.
Oh yeah, the cassava.
Yeah, the cassava, which I'll give it props on that, because I definitely like the cassava on my encebollado. I like a lot of it. So if you're somebody that actually enjoys cassava in your encebollado, you might enjoy this one.
In the canned one, the fish itself was kind of weird tasting. They're both a certain type of tuna, but I'm guessing the tuna that's inside the can is much different from the tuna that's over here in the Levy's Encebollado. So let's move on to the next comparison. We have the Eric's Encebollado and the Encebollado that's in the can. I liked the Levy's one earlier better, but the Eric's Encebollado itself was great. It was a little bit thicker in what is the texture than the Levy's Encebollado, but definitely still not as thick as the canned Encebollado. What about you?
So I definitely preferred the Eric's Encebollado over the Levy's or the canned one. It was my favorite, but that's just because I really like my Encebollado with an herby taste. I prefer it. It's not as thick as the canned Encebollado, and it doesn't have as much yuca or cassava in it, but it's definitely, it's the best. If you come to Puerto Viejo, definitely get that, Eric's Encebollado. If I were to compare this Encebollado to either Levy's or Eric's, I would say the closest that I could compare it to is Levy's, but even then they're so different that I couldn't say that they're nearly the same at all. Like, the taste is just unacceptable.
So moving on to the pros, I'm gonna talk about the things that I think would be beneficial for people buying it inside the country. For example, if you were to buy it here, you would have the advantage of being able to stock up on it. You buy 5, maybe you buy 10. You buy it here and you just don't have to go out and get it, which I guess you would say is a lazy advantage. Advantage nonetheless.
I guess the main pro that I can see living outside of Ecuador is having something similar to what you would get in the country. Because encebollado, it's definitely a dish that everyone should at least try once in their life. If you like maybe fish or something girthy, then this might be the dish for you. And honestly, living outside of the country, maybe canned encebollado could replace somewhat of the taste that you could get in Ecuador. Definitely not the same. And since it doesn't come with all the ingredients already in it, you can personalize it with whatever ingredients you can find outside the country.
The fact that you can store it, it's in a can. It's not like the one you would buy at the actual place that they sell it at any picanteria. If you buy a can of encebollado, it's got preservatives in it. So you could probably hold on to it for as long as the can says is available. Which, if I remember correctly, this can says 2025.
Yes, sir, 2025.
The amount of time you can actually keep it, very long. Do I recommend that? Probably not. You probably wouldn't want to keep it that long either, but the fact that that is an option available to anyone is also a good thing, because maybe you don't feel like eating encebollado this week, but you will eventually want to eat it.
If you ever travel here to Ecuador and you taste encebollado and you just want to take something similar back home, then this is definitely a good option. Some people do like to buy the encebollado from the picanterias and then just wrap it up and take it with you. I'd say that's a bit of a risk, because if it spills over during the trip, then you're gonna have all your clothes smelling like encebollado for about a week.
So now we're gonna talk about the cons. And boy, we've got a lot to say here.
Quite a few.
As someone who's living here, I mean, even if you weren't living here, the con is the taste.
Oh my god, yes. Because, I mean,
Goodness gracious.
it wasn't the worst thing in the world. It's not like you can't eat it, but once you taste the freshness of an actual encebollado from a picanteria here, you're gonna notice that this is not it. It's just not it.
This is disappointing.
Yes. And I mean, it gets the job done if you're looking for encebollado, but it's not good encebollado in my opinion. You can't taste how fresh it is. The fish tastes like canned tuna, and it just doesn't feel like it was made at home. I think that's a big characteristic of encebollados here in picanterias. It just tastes like it was made right at your own house. Me, as someone who's not from the country, I can't appreciate this the same way that I appreciate actual encebollado from a picanteria.
The taste is, like I said various times, disappointing. That's the first thing she says after 3 seconds of meeting me. But yes, it is disappointing.
We're working on that.
Another disadvantage that you have with this thing over here is the fact that the size is just, it's pathetic. You buy encebollado over here at about $1.50, maximum $2, and that's a small. Sometimes the big is $2 as well. You get a plate full of encebollado, and you open this, and from the plates that we had served earlier, this can was the equivalent of maybe half or less than half of the containers that we had earlier. So you're getting a lot less bang for your buck in this can. If you don't have a choice, I mean, obviously you're gonna get it, but you're not getting the same amount that you would get from a normal encebollado at a normal place. And that's considering I consider this can to be pretty big.
And I completely agree. I don't think that that's the worst thing, because it's still a pretty decently sized can. If you were to stock up, let's say that you're in the middle of an emergency or whatever, you can stock up on this. It's a meal. You will be fed. But it's definitely not something that I would eat every other day if I have the option of eating encebollado from a picanteria.
Even if it weren't encebollado, I think I would have to argue if I had to eat this or something else, I'd probably go for something else. Especially if we talk about the price, which we're gonna get to in a second,
yeah,
because that's an important factor
that's a big
to what we're saying right now. But the point is, there's other disadvantages, even living here. When you eat encebollado at a picanteria, they give you chifle. This encebollado does not come with chifle. There's no chifle included. I don't know where you would add it anyways, because if you put it in there, it's gonna be soggy and you're not gonna like it.
That is definitely a con for our international viewers, because here in Ecuador, you have no issues finding chifle. I can guarantee that. But if you're somewhere else in the world and you don't know what chifle is, you're not gonna be able to enjoy this properly. Because trust me when I tell you this, you need chifle with your encebollado. That is a must every time you get encebollado. It completes it.
It's not just the chifle. We saw that there was also a lack of onions. The cassava was maybe overboard. You know, we have those problems. Now we're gonna go into the actual price, which I think would be the biggest con out of everything, considering if you're an international viewer. Because if you buy it here, it's $1.50. Yes, it's bad in the sense that if you know what a normal encebollado tastes like, you wouldn't want to go $1.50 on this when you can go $1.50 on the better one. But then we go into the international prices.
Oh my god, international prices are horrible if you're getting this. If you go to Amazon, get this same brand of encebollado, it'll probably cost you $15.99 the can. Not like a container full of cans. The can, $15.99. And that's just ridiculous for encebollado. I wouldn't even pay $15.99 for a big encebollado here. What would be the most like $4.50 maybe? $5?
There's this encebollado, which is called marinero. Not only is it what you would normally expect in an encebollado, but it also comes with extra ingredients. You could get it for around $5.
$5.
$5.
Compared to this, it's below average.
Below average feels like what she said after she met me.
God. I can't work with you on that, I'm sorry. That's the main con when it comes to this type of encebollado. If you're gonna get it online, you're gonna pay a hefty price for what would be below average encebollado. I don't think that this product is worth it unless you're willing to like splurge on it just to have a taste, a similar taste of what you would get from that one time you traveled to Ecuador.
If you were to find yourself in that kind of position where you wanted to splurge on it because maybe you haven't had encebollado in a long time, then you could probably justify it, but it's definitely not something that you would eat every day.
I would say if you haven't tasted encebollado yet, don't waste your money on this. Get a plane ticket to Ecuador and actually try encebollado. Like real picanteria encebollado. You won't be disappointed.
Something tells me on the other hand, you will be disappointed if you try this and expect this to be the taste of every other encebollado over here in Ecuador.
You will be disappointed.
That would be not only disappointing, but sad and unfortunate for people who came over here and were like, no, I already tried it before and it's horrible.
If this was your first taste of encebollado, give it another shot here in Ecuador. You will love it, I guarantee it.
Here in Puerto Viejo, please.
Puerto
Because
Viejo. Yes,
there's
yes.
some variation depending on where you go in the country, but definitely Puerto Viejo, you will find that you will fall in love with encebollado.
Stay within Manabi and you will be fine. Don't try this as your first encebollado.
Unless you really want to risk it.
I'm sure there might be some people that might like the taste of this encebollado. If I were to rate it out of 10, I would probably give it like a 4.5 at most.
Wow, you gave it a lot more than I expected. Like a 2, maybe a 3. And I'm being nice. It's only for you if you really, really, really want to buy it. You're out of the country, you know you're never coming back to Ecuador, and it's your only chance. Like if it's the only way you're ever gonna eat encebollado, that's the only time I would probably recommend it. Like, and even then I'd be sad if that were your only experience. If you already tried it before and you try this afterwards and you realize this sucked, at least you knew it's not the fault of encebollado in general, it's this. But if it's the only way, I guess give it a shot.
Good luck. Honestly,
Good luck.
Good luck.
That's it for the information about canned encebollado. If you want to check it out, you can go ahead. I'll leave a link down below so you can buy it, check it out, which I don't recommend. The same way I don't recommend this man checking out his ex-girlfriend, but totally different story.
If you're watching this, I'm not sorry.
If you want to know about places to visit here in Ecuador, recommended by Ecuadorians, you should check this video out. And you know how it is. Make sure you take care.
Don't get this encebollado. Make sure you enjoy your good encebollado.
And as always, ace out.